日本時間の金曜日から始まるオープン戦であるカクタスリーグ開幕に向けて、現地放送局も盛り上がりを見せています。今日は新加入選手であるブレイクスネル選手やタナースコット選手へのインタビューなどから、いかに大谷翔平選手が昨年まで敵チームとして脅威である存在だったかが伺い知れる内容でした。今日も現地放送局アクセススポーツネットドジャースを翻訳してお届けします。
Welcome to Access Sportsnet Dodgers. That's right. I am your host for tonight, Jerry Hairston Jr., alongside legend Tim Cates and semi-legend J.P. Hornshaw. How you guys feeling?
I'm doing great, Jerry. You know what? You've played for a lot of teams. You played a lot of positions. You sat in a lot of chairs. This is awesome to see you in that chair.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Well, I am actually very relieved because when you came in, my initial reaction is, John, you spent way too long in the tanning booth. And then you turned around and I was like, oh, Jerry's hosting. This is great. This is much better.
It's not the tanning booth. It's, you know, playing some golf out there in that sun. But I digress. Yes, it is a little different. But you know what? We're going to go to the full screen because we got a lot to get to. Here's the full screen. On Thursday, the Cactus League opener. Yes, that's important. And also, we are looking at March 18th and 19th. That is right. The Major League Baseball season starts with your defending champion Dodgers against the Cubbies. That should be a great series. Then back to March 23rd to the 25th, we have the Freeway Series, which is always fun, guys.
Yeah.
Dodgers, Angels, some of a little rivalry. March 27th, that's when the home opener begins. And word is out, the rings will be handed out at that time. Here's Dave Roberts with some sound.
Where we're at right now today, the pitchers are in a good place. The buildup is going as we had hoped, and so not sure how who's gonna start the first couple games or when Yoshi's gonna go. But yeah, facing hitters, building up to 2 innings, 3 innings, and that progression, I think that to each guy is where we need to be.
I know every time this year you talk about the pep in your step, but considering what you accomplished last season and the off season, how does that feel different, look different for you now?
I think it looks different because guys are still hungry. I don't think there's anxiousness to sort of prove something. I think guys are looking at what we have with our ball club as an opportunity to do something really special. You know, our focus is to get better each day, to win a championship, to go back to back, and but still appreciate each day we're getting better. It is different than last year. I think there's certainly a lot of the same, you know, cast of characters, but there's some infusion of some new guys with some edge, some hunger that want their own hardware. I think that blend, and like earlier on, we were talking that it's a close group already, and that doesn't happen, you know, at every camp, but this is already a close group.
We love seeing actual baseball being played. We're going to have some Cactus League action this Thursday. How excited are you guys?
I'm looking forward to it, and I think finally we'll be able to put 2024 behind us in the championship. And certainly the ring ceremony will be great on opening day at Dodger Stadium, but so many additions to this roster, so many additions to the rotation, and Blake Snell and Sasaki, and then you get the bullpen additions. You got some turnover in the position players. I'm excited to see guys come back healthy in 2025 and how they're going to look in helping out this Dodgers team. There's a lot of new optimism in 2025 for this Dodgers team.
Yeah, we've been hearing about Roki Sasaki for how long before he actually became a Dodger. I can't wait to see this guy pitch. We had been hearing a little bit less about Hae-Sung Kim before he became a Dodger. That was kind of an unexpected signing, but you talk about the newcomers, Tim. For me, it starts with those two guys, seeing what they look like in a Dodger uniform, seeing how long it takes them to acclimate to North America, to the thin air of Arizona. How's that going to play out? What do those guys look like? And hey, I can actually read the names on the back of the uniforms this year. I'm stoked about that too.
I'm excited to see the newcomers. You know, obviously Blake Snell, he is a veteran guy, but now he's got some pressure on him. He will be the ace of the staff, and also the young guys. They're looking to make their mark in spring training.
Think about how many guys on this Dodgers roster are coming back from injuries, guys that are coming back to prove. what they're going to be able to do at the major league level and try to make this roster, whether it's starting pitching and Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin to position players like James Outman and Andy Pages. There's a lot of guys fighting for positions, and competition, as Pete Carroll always said, is a good thing on a team.
We will never get tired of celebrating the World Series championship. But for the players, it's time to focus on this season. We talked with the players about it this weekend at Camelback Ranch.
It just feels different. Like the new guys, the guys that were here last year, the one that we just won, it just in the past. Yeah. And it feels like everybody now, they want more. And the new guys, they want that bad. And as you said, like everybody was here earlier than they're supposed to be here, just to get everything going, be more ready, more prepared for the season, and you know, it's been special.
You know, that's why we stay hungry every year. We understand that there's like a level of greatness that we're trying to chase down, and why not? It's just crazy to, like, you know, people could look at it as arrogance, or the Dodgers are trying to, you know, change the game. We need X, Y, and Z in the game to change so it levels the playing field. It's like, well, why does the rest of the league get to determine where the standard is? Why can't someone continue to push the level of greatness, and instead of like comparison, trying to pull people down to your level? And that's not a knock, again, against the rest of the league, but like that's how we feel, and that's how every team should feel. But like we actually, like, that's in our DNA. Like we want to win every year.
It's not just a one and done type mentality, and I think, you know, moving forward, like when I saw all the different signings, it was like, all right, we're going for it again.
That's what happens. You got, you know, 3 Hall of Famers at the top of the lineup. All they want to do is win. Plus, when you win, it just makes everything better. Winning it fixes all problems, and it's a beautiful thing. So to be able to hear that, see that, and then as we practice and go to work, and see how, you know, focused and committed everyone is, it's fun to be a part of.
The work that is being put on by the guys and by the organization in the offseason, we see how many free agents we sign, how much talent we got in that clubhouse that is new, that is fresh, that they want to win for the first time. You guys got a guy like Blake Snell that came to this organization because he wants to taste winning on a sustainable, you know, range. So I feel like that's what kind of made me believe we're still hungry, and the mentality is to win another championship.
Guys, baseball hasn't seen a repeat champion since the Yankees of the 98 to 2000. That's got to be motivation right there, right?
It is, but I think individually there's a lot of motivation for guys financially, guys who've already won, maybe to add one more and add to some of the numbers on the back of their baseball cards and their baseball reference page. For some guys, it's financially just to get another contract because they're going into the final year of their deal. Guys want to come back off of injuries and contribute to this team, like a Tony Gonsolin, a Dustin May. So I think there's a lot of motivation individually. Dave Roberts, when he addressed the team over the weekend, sort of talked about that. Individually, take care of business. Whatever you're supposed to do that day, you focus on your job, and then collectively, between the 9 innings that we played that night, we'll go out there as a team and win. So I think individually, there's a lot of motivation for these guys.
I like what Miguel Rojas said right there, which is that if any individual is still satisfied with having won a championship last year, there are plenty of newcomers who were not part of last year's team who will be around to remind them, whether that's a Blake Snell, a Hae-Sung Kim, any of these newcomers who came in and want what the Dodgers had last October. There's going to be plenty of reminders. Dave Roberts also said something last year that stuck with me, which is that for a lot of teams coming in to play the Dodgers, that's their World Series.
Absolutely.
Right there. And if the motivation isn't in the Dodgers clubhouse to remind them of the importance of every single game, it's going to be in the other clubhouse because they're going to gear up to play the Dodgers as if it's the final out of the World Series every game.
That's a good point. Now you're the hunted instead of the team that's trying to hunt the other championship team from the year before. So in that role, JP, these guys need to adapt to that. You have to have some dogs out there and guys that know how to go out and compete every night and be the team that's being hunted.
You know what? One guy that is motivated, Bobby Miller. Obviously, Bobby Miller didn't have the season he would have liked, but he is motivated. He spoke with our Kirsten in Camelback.
There's a lot of talk of all the moves this offseason. That does, of course, mean competition for the rotation, just to be on the roster, things like that. What is your approach with that, and how are you managing, one, being a guy who's open to any and all opportunities, but also fighting for that starter role?
Yeah, you know, no matter how many moves we make or whatever, there's always going to be competition for a spot on the team. You know, nothing's given. So, you know, I'm always going to have to earn what I get. So, but yeah, I've been working super hard to try to earn that spot. But, you know, whatever happens, happens. You know, all I know is I'm putting my 100% effort in everything I do every single day to put myself in a good spot. And I feel like I'm in a great spot for that position right now.
There's obviously a lot of talent in this room. What has it been like just seeing some of your new teammates, getting to know them, building relationships, especially with someone like Blake Snell?
Yeah, he's awesome. We're just kind of getting to know each other right now as friends right now. And but yeah, I'm excited to watching him going and getting more ramped up, and excited to see him face hitters as well. You know, I'm just gonna be paying attention to the guys like that, you know.
He told me that he felt that you guys had a lot of just similarities, and he kind of saw himself in you in different ways. Do you feel that when you see him, just whether it's how he plays the game, whether it's the style, things like that?
Yeah, just like you said right there. And he's also another kind of laid-back dude, and a very big competitor, which is the same for me. So yeah, we're just kind of getting to know each other right now.
What is the vibe going into 2025? Obviously there is a very high focus level, but do you feel a different kind of fire amongst this group looking to achieve something special and going back to back?
Yeah, 100%. You know, obviously that's the main goal, but right now, you know, just focus on day by day, winning each day, focusing and being where your feet are. So, you know, that's all you can do as of now, instead of just looking in the future every single day. So just kind of being where your feet are and taking it day by day.
Guys, we just heard Bobby say that nothing is given. He's going to have to earn anything he gets this season. What's his place on this roster?
Well, Bobby Miller is one of a handful of pitchers who actually have an option in their contract. They can actually be optioned to the minors. This is not an especially flexible pitching staff. There are a lot of veterans. So Bobby Miller has to give the Dodgers a reason to keep him on their major league staff. That is not going to be easy because this is a very deep pitching staff. In short, Bobby Miller has to show that he is not the pitcher he was last season, and is the pitcher that he was 2 years ago. Because the guy he was last season, command was an issue, consistency was an issue. Sure, you've got an upper 90s fastball, but that alone is not going to get you a job in the major leagues today. That is not going to carry you through. Bobby Miller has to show that he is a complete pitcher. Showed that a lot 2 years ago, but he's got to get back to that form, and maybe being around veterans like Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, where he's apparently stationed in that locker room there in Camelback, is going to help.
JP, I'm so glad you brought that up. And Tim, I asked this question to you. The impact that Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow to kind of take Bobby Miller under their wing, can that benefit him?
Absolutely, and I think it's huge because I don't believe he had a mentor, a guy who he can go to in between starts and say, what did I do wrong? What have you done in the past as a veteran pitcher? Now that he's got Snell and Glasnow there to help him and navigate through a season, the ups and downs, he had a great 2023, 22 starts, 11 wins. He caught baseball on fire and rode that momentum and that high through that season. Comes back in 24, we know the ERA with the struggles he had in AAA as well. Now that he's got some guys to kind of guide him and navigate through the ups and downs of spring training, I think we're going to see Bobby Miller be a big-time contributor in 25.
I'll tell you what, I think we all were not worried about Bobby Miller, but we want to see him succeed. The best season of his career, 22 saves with a 1.75 ERA, and was named an All-Star for the first time in his 8-year career. He was traded at the deadline from the Marlins to the Padres before becoming a free agent in the fall. We sat down on Friday at Camelback Ranch. Now, let's get connected with Tanner Scott. Tanner Scott, a lot of people say that you are the Ohtani stopper. Yes, no. You're going to walk us through why you've been so effective against your new teammate.
Man, I'm just glad to be his teammate. I don't have to face him anymore. So, no, I knew when I got traded over, I had to face him quite often. And I mean, it's always fun to face the best. And somehow it worked out in my favor. And I'm glad I'm his teammate now.
Yeah, you know what? It did work out in your favor because you have elite stuff. Now, listen, you have played in this division. You were at the Padres last year. They're an incredible team. How excited are you now to be joining this team with plenty of star power?
Oh, there's so many stars. It's great. I mean, everyone welcomed me with open arms, and I'm really looking forward to this year.
Last season, you had a great bullpen with the Padres. In my opinion, last season, heading into the postseason, you guys were the best bullpen. Now, as I look at the way the Dodgers are constructed, you being one of the leaders in that bullpen, how fun is it going to be for you and the rest of the bullpen guys knowing you guys got 3, 4, 5 capable closers, but also other elite arms that can get outs in big situations?
I mean, everyone in the bullpen's elite, and it's going to be exciting to see from the first pitch on, and it's exciting. I mean, getting to meet my new little family instead of a big family is awesome, and there's a lot of veteran arms in there, and it's going to be fun.
You know, I got a chance to play this game a little bit as a player. I remember when Manny was with the Dodgers years ago. On his bobblehead, he had a grand slam off the bench. And I was playing shortstop that night for the Reds, and I got a chance to see the raucous crowd at Dodger Stadium. I'm like, you know what? I would love to play here one day. Did you ever have that feeling? I know you had played for a couple other teams. Recently, the San Diego Padres said, you know what? Maybe if I get a chance to play in this environment, I would love that chance.
Oh, definitely, definitely. When we played them last year, it was that the whole atmosphere was just electric, and you feed off of it, and it makes you want to come here even more.
Talk about feeding off energy. You're wearing Dodger blue now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. By the way, it looks great on you.
Thank you.
Okay, you're a good-looking guy. The beard is well kept. You're just staring at you is intimidating enough for me. I want you to kind of put yourself in the future right now. There's nothing like Dodger Stadium. But as a former player, I loved playing on the road. Walk us through, and are you anticipating a warm welcome for you down at Petco Park?
I would probably definitely be booed. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm here now, and I just want to win. I want to win. It's the one thing everyone strives to do, and I mean, we have a really good chance of doing that again.
You know, I think it's so important. I know manager Dave Roberts has talked about it. You know, repeating is hard to do in any sport, especially in the sport of baseball. Guys like yourself, Blake Snell, how hungry are you guys to be able to taste that champagne after the World Series and hoist that trophy?
I mean, that's when you sign here, it's what you're looking forward to. I mean, it's what everyone wants to do, and they did it last year, and I want to be a part of it this year.
Talk about your relationship with Evan Phillips.
We're really good friends. We met in the Baltimore Orioles organization, and I was in his wedding actually. So I was one of his groomsmen. So it was kind of cool.
Really?
So we're close.
Who's a better dancer, you or Evan?
Probably him. My feet are staying put.
Can you sing?
No.
You look like you can play the guitar and sing and do your thing.
No.
None of that.
No.
You know what? It's what I love about you. This 5-minute interview. You had that stoic look, that serious look, and you're all business, aren't you?
It's the eyebrows. I know. It's the eyebrows. No, I am all business. I mean, I want to win. I signed here for a reason. I hope we do it and for the next couple of years.
Tanner, welcome to the Dodgers. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Tanner Scott, elite closer for your show, Dodgers.
Thank you.
You know, guys, Tanner was one of the huge bullpen pieces that the Dodgers added this offseason. What do you think he brings to this elite bullpen?
Well, certainly he brings experience. He brings a guy who's done it before. He knows how to close out games. You can certainly see his composure there. He's not afraid to talk to Jerry, not afraid to get out there in the 9th inning and close out a game. He knows the division. There's so many boxes that he checks, and he's hungry to win a championship. He's a veteran who's going to come in, been through it, done it, and he's going to come in and add a great left-handed arm to this bullpen, and he can serve in many roles, whether it's a setup man or a closer.
Yeah, he wasn't the closer at the end of last season for the San Diego Padres. Robert Suarez was, and seeing Tanner Scott make that adjustment after coming to San Diego in that trade with the Marlins tells me that this is an adaptable guy. He can be an all-star closer, and he's willing to accept a role that will help the team. Dave Roberts has come out and said Tanner Scott will be our primary closer to begin the season, so I'm expecting him to rack up saves from the outset. I can't remember the last time the Dodgers had a left-handed closer. Not too many of those out there. It's going to be a special thing to see.
He kind of has some Billy Wagner in him. Excuse me, Hall of Famer Billy Wagner. Guys, trust me, this is the second time I've sat down and kind of talked to him. He's extremely intimidated, and I was in a suit. I could only imagine being in the batter's box because he's got incredible stuff. Now, the other reliever, Kirby Yates from the Strangers. What's his role going to be? Because he's coming off a great season of last season.
Yeah, this is a guy who, like Tanner Scott, has pitched in multiple roles in relief and basically thrived in all of them. Kirby Yates is a guy who can get 3 outs in the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, depending on the situation. What I really like about Kirby Yates is that this is a guy who has thrived in this era of relief pitchers who basically throw a 100-mile-per-hour fastball plus a slider without a 100-mile-per-hour fastball or that dominant slider. This guy has his own makeup. He's not the fastest pitcher on the planet. He's not going to blow you away, but he still gets strikeouts. He still gets outs. He still is one of the most clutch relief pitchers in the game. Top 5 in wins probability added last year. I'm really excited to see what Kirby Yates does. I expect he'll get some saves along the way as well. Just won't begin the season as the primary closer.
You talk about an embarrassment of riches that Dave Roberts and Mark Pryor have in this bullpen. To have a left-hander and Scott with 22 saves a year ago, and then to bring in Kirby Yates, who had 33 saves and a 1.17 ERA in 61 games in the AL West. I mean, left-handed Scott, right-handed Yates. You can go to other relievers. Let's not forget about Blake Trinan still down there, the back end of the bullpen. It is embarrassing how much talent is down there.
And you got 2 relievers that cannot wait to hoist that trophy. I tell you what, these guys are studs. Cactus League play gets underway this week. The first of 20 games in Arizona is Thursday when the Dodgers host the Chicago Cubs at noon. As usual, every single Cactus League game can be seen right here on Sports.LA. Then join us for post-game highlights and reactions on Access. It's always fun to see the regulars get some at-bats, throw some pitches, and then see the prospects get their chance to shine at camp. Cactus League play begins on Thursday. All right, guys, I know we talked about this a little earlier, but let's discuss the players that have the most to prove this spring. You know what? I'm going to start with a position player I love, CT3. I know the last couple years haven't really gone his way, didn't really get a whole lot of playing time. I know the strikeouts have been an issue. He's worked hard this offseason to cut down on the strikeouts. I'm hoping he has a great camp.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dustin May as far as starting pitching is concerned, Jay, here. Dustin May, still only 27 years old. Just haven't seen enough of him in the last few years because of the injuries. 21 to 23, he's made just 20 starts. Hoped to come back last year. They had the esophagus issue. 9 starts in 2023, was 4-1 with a 2.63 ERA before the arm gave out in that game against the Twins. He has got a lot of motivation to come back and prove to people that he can be the Dustin May from a few years ago where he was just absolutely nasty.
Yeah, guys, we were talking about the difference between different sliders and sweepers and slurves. Evan Phillips' sweeper is a special weapon out of this bullpen. A year ago at this time, we were talking how many saves is this guy going to rack up? Well, now, Evan Phillips has a lot to prove. He has to prove, number one, that he can get back to being the guy who he was at the beginning of last season, and number two, if and when he gets past this shoulder injury, that is not going to hinder him in 2025. I think Evan Phillips has to prove that he can regain that role, not necessarily a closer, but just a valuable weapon out of Dave Roberts' bullpen who can use that sweeper to great effect.
Now let's look ahead. The most important player as the season begins. I'll start with the position player, Will Smith. Listen, we know Will Smith has been an all-star. He's America's catcher. But for some reason, the last couple second halves of season, he has really struggled with the bat. If this guy turns on in the second half the way he's hit in the first half the last couple seasons, he could have a tremendous impact on this lineup. We know about the Big Show. We know about Mookie, Fab Five Freddy, obviously Teoscar Hernandez. You put Will Smith, his offensive production, to go along with leading this pitching staff, who's done a great job also throwing out runners. He's done outstanding at that. But with the bat, we got to get Will Smith. Maybe it's the diet. Maybe he continues his strength. Because if he has a monster second half with the bat, this team is going to be near impossible to beat.
No doubt. I think the most important starting pitcher for the Dodgers in 25 is Blake Snell. Certainly been one of the best pitchers in baseball the last few years with the Cy Youngs. But now he's got a home, guys, here in LA. He signs the 5-year deal. He said it himself. He can sink his roots now into this organization. And one of the things he's done, we talked about it, Bobby Miller, and working with that young right-hander and navigating the spring with him. But also, every day he takes the ball, we know what he's going to give you. He's going to go out and compete. He's going to be a bulldog out there, and he's going to give you everything when he's on the mound. I think that is going to be something other players feed off of. Clayton Kershaw is an older veteran. He was that guy that every 5 days you knew could be a losing streak stopper. Blake Snell is that guy right now for the Dodgers.
I like it. I'm excited to see what he can do this season. You know, Blake Snell is the lone lefty out of that rotation. Alex Vesia is the lefty to watch out of the bullpen. I think he is the most important relief pitcher in the regular season because if Tanner Scott is your closer, Alex Vesia is your key lefty setup guy who can come in to get the other team's best left-handed hitter out, whether that's in the 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th. There is really nobody better at that job last season from the left side than Alex Vesia. And you think about it, if you've got Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Shohei Ohtani, and Roki Sasaki, that is 5 pretty excellent right-handers in your starting rotation. You bring in the lefty out of the bullpen to give them a different look. He can be terribly effective. He had an ERA under 2 last season, led the team in appearances. I am really looking for a big season for Alex Vesia to follow up on what he did last year.
All these guys are itching to start the season. Can't wait. Back in action, and we'll be back in the Dodgers rotation. How excited are you that you're healthy and ready to go?
I'm super excited. I was chomping at the bit last year trying to get back, help this team make a playoff run, and then you know, hopefully help in playoffs. Didn't work out that way, but super excited to help this squad this year.
You know, it's not lost on us, anybody who really follows the Dodgers, but you know, obviously there's been a lot of moves. Blake Snell signed Tyler Glasnow last season to an extension after being traded over here. You were an all-star a couple years ago. How excited are you to be chomping at that bit to say, you know what, hey, I had a pretty good start to a season a few years ago, and I can contribute to the staff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just ready to go out there and compete, you know, hopefully get the ball every 5th, 6th day, whatever it is, and give our squad a chance to win, you know, just keep us in the game and see what happens. Let this lineup do their job. You know,
listen, we talk about you being the competitor that you are. You pitched injured, not just hurt. You're injured. You're trying to stay in the rotation, allow us to have extra innings from the starters, but obviously you couldn't go any further. How difficult was it for you to really call it kind of quits, get that surgery, and then watch the guys have success? Now listen, you always want your teammates to have success, but you know that you really want to be a part of that and be on the field.
Yeah, we were in a tough spot when I got the results back from the MRI. So I felt like my body felt good, arm wasn't hurting too bad. Just tried to go out there and give our team, you know, eat up some innings, hopefully, so that bullpen could relax a day. Didn't really work out great that way, but yeah, finally, when we called it quits, had a really rough outing. Didn't recover well from that, and then, you know, surgery. It is what it is, and gave me a lot of time to come back to be prepared for this year.
You know, I say it all the time. My favorite pitch, now that I'm not playing anymore, is the cambio. Splits is right behind that pitch because it is a devastating pitch when thrown right. You throw one of the best splits in all of baseball. How excited are you? You have a couple of guys now. Roki's here, obviously Yamamoto that throws that split finger, Kirby Yates as well out of the bullpen. Will you guys at certain points of spring training or throughout the season maybe kind of see how the other guy throws and maybe tinker with yours a little bit, maybe try to improve it if you can?
Yeah, definitely. I got the luxury of watching Yoshi pitch all last year to see what his splitty does. He throws his really hard. It's a little bit different than mine. Got to stand in a little bit when Roki was playing catch the other day, and again, his splitter is quite different than mine. But Kirby, he's one of the guys where I'm going to pick his brain often about what he's thinking, how he's trying to use it on guys, where he's trying to go when he's trying to throw for a strike, for a ball, you know, just kind of how he approaches his splitty, because I feel like ours are very similar.
You know, we have a lot of guys in camp, obviously on the pitching side. I think what's going to be great for you especially, and a couple of guys like Roki, Yamamoto, the 6-man rotation. You know, obviously, historically in the big leagues, it's been 5, but how do you think you guys will benefit from that 6-man rotation where you guys get that extra day or 2 of rest?
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone like myself benefits a lot from that. Coming off of surgery, coming off of not getting any big league innings last year, I think it helps me maintain that health longer and not necessarily be on like an innings restriction.
Tony, I've known you for a couple years now, obviously watching you play, being around the clubhouse a little bit. You are really determined this year to do your thing. How excited? This is my last question for you. How excited are you to put the baseball world back on notice that Tony Gonsolin is back?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You know, we had Fan Fest the other day, or a couple weeks ago, and felt like I was just a ghost at times, just under the radar. And yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. But when we get on that field, they're gonna know.
I saw you on that golf course too. That's when I really saw it. We were at Justin Turner's golf event. That's when I really saw it. And you're right, at Fan Fest, you had that eye of the tiger. I'm not gonna say it. Tony the Tiger, you're great. I'm not gonna say it, but I just did. Tony, I appreciate your time, man. I look forward to watching you pitch, and I know you're gonna have a huge comeback season for the Dodgers, man.
Awesome, thank you so much.
You know, guys, Dave Roberts has already named 4 guys to be in the rotation on opening day. Is Tony Gonsolin the best bet to be that 5th starter?
I think it's his job to lose right now. You go back to 2022 and what he did, 16-1 and 24 starts, and then got the injury in 23. If he were a superhero, he'd be the forgotten man, not the cat man, the forgotten man, as he talked about, kind of just riding underneath the radar, kind of floating there with all these stars they now have on this team, the depth they brought in as starting pitching. If he can come in and be the Tony Gonsolin from 2022, absolutely, he is in the starting rotation.
Yeah, you never want to take it for granted that a guy will just bounce back coming off of a Tommy John surgery. And in that regard, both he and Dustin May are kind of in a similar boat. This is, for me, it's the most exciting competition in camp between him and May. Throw Bobby Miller in there as well, but to get that number 5 starter job out of camp, Tony Gonsolin was ready at the end of last season. He had a normal offseason. I would give him the edge based on that alone, but I found it interesting to see that he was going to pick Kirby Yates' brain because let's say he doesn't have the upper 90 stuff again. Kirby Yates is a guy who thrives with that fastball splitter combo without the upper 90 stuff. That might be who Tony Gonsolin is, at least at the beginning of 2025. That might be enough.
You know, guys, I've got a chance to know Tony Gonsolin the last couple of years, and he's kind of been a little bit reserved. You know, but seeing him this offseason, and yes, he's kind of taking it personal a little bit. He is on a mission to be that 5th starter. Another guy who's got a lot of talent is Dustin May. We know about his stuff, and I'm going to start it with you, JP. When he gets healthy, what's his role going to be?
That's a great question. You know, the interesting thing about Dustin May in comparison to Tony Gonsolin is that Dustin May is out of minor league options. I think the Dodgers have to find a role for him on this staff somewhere. Now, they could buy him some time by putting him on the IL if he needs more time, if they think he does. But if Dustin May is anywhere close to who he was pre-injury, I think that he could either be a 5th starter or he could be a very valuable piece out of this bullpen. Obviously, the Dodgers aren't there yet. They want to build him up as a starting pitcher just in case there's an injury to one of the top 4 guys. Then, boom, it's an easy call. You put Dustin May in your starting rotation to begin the season. But I think that the fact that the season begins a week earlier for the Dodgers than all but one other team gives them a little bit more time where Dustin May doesn't have to be on the road trip to Japan necessarily. He can come out and possibly be in the rotation once the team gets back home. But if not, again, he can be really exciting out of the bullpen. I'm not going to lie.
Call me crazy, but I would love an opportunity here in April and May and even June for this Dodger rotation to have the veterans there, but also have a guy like Dustin May be a piggyback guy out of the bullpen. Whether you have a starter go 3, 4, 5 innings, I mean, the days of guys going 5, 6, 7 innings are over with, but especially in the beginning part of this season, shorter outings for some of these starters like a Blake Snell and a Sasaki and everybody, then you can bring a Dustin May in, not a traditional role, but that piggyback role out of the bullpen.
I like that idea. You know, Dustin May, give him 2 innings to kind of air it out, maybe start his development as a closer one day. Let's check out the Cactus League calendar. The first game is Thursday when the Dodgers host the Cubs. And then it's game on. 20 games in Arizona, all of them right here on Sportsnet LA. You know what, guys? Saturday night's NBA Slam Dunk Contest did not feature any All-Star. And the winner was a guy who doesn't even play in the NBA. The NBA, listen, they are in dire straits. So let's talk about the Home Run Derby. Home Run Derby doesn't have that problem. Yep. What stars would you want to see in the Home Run Derby?
Give me Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Jose Canseco.
It's not players for me. It's what I want to see. Aluminum bats. Aluminum bats in Home Run Derby. This thing would be awesome. 600-foot home runs.
Just the regular stars. Aaron Judge, The Big Show, the current stars carry the game. Let's do it. For Tim, JP, I am Jerry Hairston Jr., your host for One Day. John, come back, brother!
今日は名物解説者のジェリー、エアストン・ジュニア氏が司会を務めるという一風変わった番組構成で見ていて面白かったですね。それにしても、あれだけ大谷選手を抑えていたタナースコット投手から見ても、これで戦わなくて済むと言いたくなるほど大谷選手は脅威ということですね。怪我からの復活、ローテーション入りを目指す選手など、本当にドジャースは温かいチームでありながら、皆がハングリー精神を持った素晴らしいチームですね。開幕が本当に楽しみです。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。